Imagine this. It's a hot summer afternoon. You've just finished gardening or maybe taking a short walk outside. You feel tired, your shirt is sticking to your back, and all you can think about is one thing: that tall, frosty glass of ice cold water waiting in the kitchen. You take a sip. The shock of that freezing liquid rushing down your throat feels refreshing, almost like a reward. But here's the unsettling truth: what feels like relief in that moment may actually be working silently against you, especially if you're over 60. In fact, recent studies show that what you drink, and more importantly, the temperature of those drinks, can have surprising effects on your digestion, circulation, and even your heart. Shocking, right? And yet, most people never hear about this until it's too late. So before I reveal why something as simple as an ice-filled glass could quietly harm your health, let me ask you this. Have you ever noticed feeling more sluggish, bloated, or even short of breath after gulping down something ice cold? Hold on to that thought. We'll come back to it, because by the end of this talk, you'll see that your daily drinking habit might be doing much more than just quenching your thirst. And before we dive deeper, let me remind you, if you want to stay updated on health tips that could truly change your life after 60, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's free, and it ensures you won't miss out on the information that might protect your health tomorrow. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Come on, Dr. Miller, it's just a cold drink. How bad can it be? And I hear you, because at first glance, it feels harmless, even healthy. But let me ask you this. Do you ever wake up feeling more tired than when you went to bed? Do you notice that your digestion seems slower, or that you feel bloated after even a light meal? Maybe you've had moments where your hands or feet feel colder than they used to, or you get sudden stomach cramps you can't quite explain. Sound familiar? Many of my patients in their 60s, 70s, even 80s tell me the same thing. They say, "Doctor, I don't eat terribly. I try to stay active, but I still feel sluggish, heavy, or achy. What's going on?" Here's the tricky part. The answers aren't always obvious. You see, when we think of healthy aging or foods to avoid after 60, we imagine sugar, fried foods, or processed snacks. But almost no one stops to think about the temperature of what they're drinking every day. Yet, researchers have shown that temperature can influence how quickly your stomach muscles contract, how your blood vessels react, and even how nutrients are absorbed. For someone younger, the body may recover quickly. But after 60, when circulation slows and digestion changes, that sudden shock of ice water can quietly make symptoms worse. And here's where I want you to pause and reflect with me. Does that sound like you? Do you notice these little struggles creeping into your daily life? If so, you're not alone, and you may be closer to the answer than you realize. Let me step back for a moment and tell you who I am, because I don't want you to feel like you're just listening to a stranger online. My name is Dr. Jonathan Miller. I've been a geriatric specialist for more than 30 years. That means I've spent my career helping older adults, people just like you, navigate the changes that come with age. From energy loss, to joint pain, to memory shifts, to digestion struggles, I've seen it all. And let me tell you something, I never take those struggles lightly, because behind every symptom is a person, a family, and a story that matters. Why do I care so much about this? Well, partly because of my own family. I watched my father deal with health challenges in his late 60s, and I saw how small everyday choices, things he never even thought about, had the power to either improve his quality of life or quietly chip away at it. That left a mark on me. So now, when I talk to you about something as simple as what you're drinking, it's not theory. It's not just numbers on a chart. It's 30 years of listening to patients, reviewing research, and seeing with my own eyes how a single habit can make the difference between fatigue and energy, between illness and vitality. And to bring this closer to home, let me share the story of one of my patients. Her name is Eleanor. She's 74, full of life, with a sharp sense of humor, but not long ago, she came to me with a problem she couldn't quite explain. Eleanor walked into my office one morning with a look I know all too well, a mix of worry and confusion. She sighed as she sat down and said, "Dr. Miller, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. I eat vegetables, I go for walks, I don't eat much sugar, but something still isn't right." She went on to explain. Her mornings were decent, but by mid-afternoon, she felt like her energy had been drained out of her body. Her knees ached so much that climbing the stairs in her own home felt like a small mountain. And meals, even light, healthy ones, left her feeling bloated and uncomfortable. What worried her most, though, were the memory lapses. Misplacing her glasses, forgetting an old friend's name, little slips that left her asking, "Is this just aging, or is something wrong with me?" Now, here's what struck me. Eleanor had already made the usual healthy changes. She cut out fried foods, she swapped white bread for whole grain, she even started drinking more water, because everyone told her hydration was the key to longevity after 60. But then she leaned in and confessed something unusual. "Doctor, sometimes even when I drink plain water, it feels like it turns against me." She told me how one glass could sit in her stomach like a heavy block of ice, leaving her full and uncomfortable. Her hands and feet would turn cold as though her circulation had slowed to a crawl. And on more than one occasion, she felt a sudden wave of dizziness so sharp that she had to grip the counter just to steady herself. Strange, isn't it? The one habit we're always told is safe, even essential for healthy aging, was making her feel worse. Have you, or someone you love, ever experienced something similar? That feeling that the very things you thought were helping your health might secretly be holding you back. That was Eleanor's reality, and at first it didn't add up. But as we dug deeper, a surprising pattern emerged, one that pointed not to what she was drinking, but to how she was drinking it. Thank you for staying with me this far. I can tell how much you care about your health, and that already sets you apart. So let's uncover what was really happening to Eleanor, and perhaps to you as well. The surprising truth is this. It wasn't the water itself that left her feeling worse. It was the temperature. When we gulp down ice-cold drinks, especially after 60, the body doesn't always welcome the shock. Here's why. Think of your stomach like the soil in a garden. For seeds to grow, that soil needs to be warm, soft, and ready to nourish. But if you dump a bucket of ice on it, everything slows down. The roots struggle. Growth is delayed. That's exactly what happens when ice-cold liquid enters your digestive system. Studies show that very cold drinks can temporarily slow enzyme activity and blood flow, which means slower digestion and that heavy, bloated feeling Eleanor described. Then there's circulation. Research from the National Institutes of Health has shown that drinking ice-cold liquids can cause sudden constriction of blood vessels in the stomach and extremities. For younger people, the body often recovers quickly. But after 60, when circulation is already less efficient, this can mean cold hands and feet or even brief dizziness as blood pressure shifts. And the heart isn't left out. A study in the Journal of Emergency Medicine noted that ice-cold drinks can sometimes trigger a vagal response, a sudden reflex in the nervous system that slows the heart rate. For most people, it passes, but in seniors with heart conditions, even a small jolt like this can add unnecessary strain. Now, let's be clear. I'm not saying you should never enjoy cool water on a hot day. Hydration is essential for healthy aging and longevity after 60, but how you hydrate matters. Here's what works better. Instead of filling your glass with ice cubes, aim for water that's cool or room temperature. It's gentler on the digestive system and your body can absorb it more efficiently. In fact, the World Health Organization lists plain, moderate temperature water as the safest and most effective way to stay hydrated at any age. And about those sugary sodas or sweetened iced teas, they're a double hit. Not only are they served ice cold, but the added sugar fuels inflammation and increases the risk of diabetes. According to the CDC, nearly 1 in 3 adults over 65 in the US already live with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes. That's a statistic we can't ignore. The swap here is simple but powerful. Replace sodas with plain natural water. If you enjoy flavor, just add a slice of fresh lemon or cucumber. No carbonation, no added sugar. Trade iced coffee packed with cream and sugar for a warm herbal tea that soothes the stomach and supports digestion. And for daily hydration, aim for about 6 to 8 cups of plain water at a comfortable temperature. Spread it throughout the day instead of gulping large amounts at once. Now let me ask you something. Which of these changes feels doable for you this week? Could you skip one soda? Could you leave the ice out of your water at dinner? Take a moment and think about it. And I'd encourage you, make a promise to yourself. Even one small step can start to change the way you feel. If you'd like, write your commitment in the comments, because when you put it into words, that's when it becomes real. So let's take a breath and gather what we've learned together. The big idea is simple. It's not just what we drink after 60, but how we drink it. Those ice-cold glasses we once thought were refreshing can quietly chip away at digestion, circulation, and even heart health. But the beauty is this: change doesn't have to be overwhelming. Think back to Eleanor's story. She didn't give up everything overnight. She simply began swapping her tall glasses of ice water for room temperature water. She added a gentle herbal tea in the evenings. And slowly, her energy returned. Her hands and feet warmed. She no longer feared that dizzy spell after a drink. That's the power of small, steady choices. Now, I'd like you to pause for a moment and picture your own daily routine. When you open the fridge or sit down at the table, what's usually in your glass? Can you see one small change you could make starting tomorrow? Because here's the truth. If Eleanor could feel younger, steadier, and more alive at 72, there is no reason you can't, too. And I want you to do something important for yourself. Not for me, not for anyone else, just for you. Make a quiet promise in your heart that you'll try one change this week. Then if you're ready, share it in the comments. Writing it down can be the first step toward holding yourself accountable, and sometimes that one step makes all the difference. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought. Your health after 60 is not about perfection. It's about small, consistent steps that add up to big changes. One glass of room temperature water instead of ice, one evening cup of calming tea instead of a sugary soda. Each choice is like adding a brick to the foundation of your future. steady, strong, and built to last. And now, I'd love to hear from you. What's been your biggest challenge when it comes to drinks or daily hydration? Have you ever noticed how your body reacts differently than it used to? Share your experience in the comments. I read them, and I promise your story could inspire someone else who's listening right now. Um, if today's conversation resonated with you, please take a moment to subscribe. That way, you won't miss the next video where I'll share another surprising habit that can shape your health and longevity. And if you know a friend or family member who could benefit from this, don't keep it to yourself. Send it their way. This is Dr. Jonathan Miller. Thank you for spending this time with me. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay mindful of what goes into your glass, and remember, you deserve to feel vibrant no matter your age.